Have you ever heard the mysterious and famous fairy tale story of Germany? If no, then you must watch and listen this story. Once upon a time, in a quiet valley surrounded by green hills and gentle rivers, there lay a cheerful little town called Hamelin. It was a place full of bright mornings and peaceful evenings. The cobblestone streets echoed with children's laughter, and the aroma often smelled like warm bread from the town baker. The people of Hamelin were proud and happy. Farmers brought fresh milk, merchants sold fruits and cheese, and children chased butterflies in the fields. It seemed like nothing bad could ever happen there. But sometimes, trouble comes when no one expects it. One summer morning, a baker opened his shop and let out a shocked cry. Inside his flour sack sat a fat rat chewing greedily. The baker tried to shoo it away, but then he saw another, and another. Soon, rats crawled through windows, across roofs, under doors, everywhere. They stole food, chewed cloth, frightened babies, and even chased cats from the streets. Wherever you looked, there were sharp teeth and tiny black eyes. The people of Hamelin grew desperate. Mothers called for help, farmers covered their crops, and the mayor held meeting after meeting, but nothing worked. No trap, no plan, no person could stop the rats. Just as hope began to fade, something remarkable happened. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills and warm orange light filled the town square, a stranger arrived. He was not noble in appearance, nor richly dressed. His clothes were simple: an emerald blue tunic, dusty boots that carried many miles, and at his side hung a small wooden flute. On his head he wore a wide-brim hat with a bright red feather, dancing softly in the breeze. Though he looked humble, there was something curious about him, a calmness in his eyes, a quiet wisdom in his steps. He walked to the center of Hamelin and spoke softly, yet everyone heard him. Good people of Hamelin, I hear you are troubled. If you allow me, I shall rid your town of rats. The townspeople stared. Could this simple traveler be the answer to their prayers? The mayor stepped forward. What reward do you ask for such a task? The stranger bowed slightly. A fair sum of 1,000 guilders. The townsfolk gasped. It was a lot, but fear guided them more than gold. Yes, if you succeed, the mayor agreed. We shall pay you. The traveler nodded, lifted his flute, and began to play. What a strange and lovely sound it was. Soft as wind across water, gentle as moonlight, yet full of magic. It flowed through streets, curled around rooftops, and brushed every ear like a whisper from the stars. Suddenly, something wondrous and frightening happened. From every corner of Hamelin, rats appeared. They paused, then slowly turned toward the piper. One by one, then by dozens, then by hundreds, they joined in a great line, following him as if under a spell. Through the town he walked, flute singing, feather swaying. Up the streets, down the lanes, across bridges and toward the river. When he reached the riverbank, the rats did not hesitate. They jumped into the water and were swept away by the rushing stream. In just a short time, every rat was gone. The town burst into cheers. Children danced, mothers wept with joy, and the mayor announced proudly, "Hamelin is saved." The piper returned quietly. "I came for my reward." But now the danger was gone, and sadly, greed returned to the people's hearts. 1,000 guilders? The mayor scoffed. For a tune on a flute? Impossible. You shall have 50, and be grateful. The townspeople nodded. They no longer feared the piper. He was humble in dress, ordinary in clothing. Surely he could do no harm. The piper looked at the mayor with calm sorrow. "I keep my word," he said softly. "And I hoped you would too." But when no payment came, he bowed his head, turned away, and disappeared down a narrow street. Pipers sit under a tree and think for a while. After some time, he made a decision and went to the town center at midnight. Standing in the middle of the town center, he lifted his flute. A new melody floated through the air. It was sweet, like laughter and sunshine, gentle and playful. This time, the children heard it first. Little hands paused mid-play. Little feet stood still. Then, smiling, one by one, they followed the enchanting sound. Through doors and windows they came, tiny shoes tapping on cobblestones, little eyes shining with joy. Boys and girls of all ages. Parents soon realized something was wrong. But the children could not hear. They followed the piper, who walked gracefully through the meadows, his red feather bright as dawn light, his tune leading them forward like a dream. They climbed hills, crossed streams, and reached a far mountain where mist curled like soft white silk. And then something marvelous happened. A golden arch of light appeared in the hillside, shining like morning sun upon fresh snow. The piper stepped through. The children followed, laughing like birds in spring. Boys and girls of all ages. Except one. A boy with a gentle face and a limp in his step tried to follow but could not keep up. Only the boy with the limp remained behind, crying softly on the grass. All the children vanished behind that arched door, in front of his eyes. He returned to Hamelin and told the story through trembling lips, of a valley of light and soft music beyond the hill. But no door could be found again. No search could bring the children back. The town of Hamelin fell into great sorrow. The mayor wept and wished he had kept his promise. The people learned that pride and greed bring only tears. Time passed. The wind blew gently once again. New children were born, new homes built, but the memory never faded. And sometimes, on quiet nights, when the moon is bright and the leaves rustle softly, the people of Hamelin pause and listen. For somewhere far away, carried by the wind, they believe they can still hear a flute playing, gentle and magical, reminding them of a vow broken, a kindness betrayed, and a promise that should never have been broken.